Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 146, being recorded on the 11th of July, 2018. My name is Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Colin Crumpton.
Hello. You have to watch the video version just to watch Lewis point at himself and say, "My name."
My name.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
We're doing well. I assume you were also collectively asking all the listeners.
I was.
How are you doing?
Said everybody.
I'm going to pause so they can let us know.
Oh, good.
There we go.
Fit in the silence, people.
There we go.
So yeah, we are missing a Harrison.
We are. We're missing him because I guess the last minute activity. I don't know how to say without going too much.
That's what I'm going to call him. Shenanigans.
He's helping someone move.
He's
I think it's the simple version.
Yeah. Which is a worthy excuse.
It is. It's one of the better ones.
What about
We've had a few. I've given a few. Not turning up to a podcast.
Oh, you don't want to say? Okay, because you've had some corkers. Like I'll say.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
My favorite one. He's like, guys, I can't do the podcast because I'm playing games with friends. He's like, he blew us off to play games with friends.
I didn't know I had actually.
Yeah,
was so transparent about one of those before.
you pulled that one. I was like, well, okay. I think me and Harrison just went on. Or we delayed. Quite delayed. I don't know.
Nah, you don't go on. You wait. Patiently. But we are here to talk about some Nintendo things, like what we've been playing, which we're going to start off the show with. We are then going to go into some Nintendo news. Not a huge amount. We're still like not too far away, from E3 and
right.
all the big reveals which came out of that. So we're still in the slow news weeks, but we do have a super topic, of course, to end the show with. That's all good times. Should we do a bit of housekeeping?
Always. Keep a clean house, people.
Keep a clean house. Should we leave it at that, or?
I mean, that's not.
I never know what the balance should be here. I guess we'll leave it to a simple one, which is if you like what we do, check us out on patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. You can support us there. And what do they get for doing that, Colin?
They get the opportunity, as we were explaining about the end of the show. You'll see what craziness comes. But you get the opportunity to submit to us a topic, which in the near future is actually changing. We're going to change the format a little bit for super topics. Now, they're basically the main, final segment of the show, and it can be anything. We'll discuss anything that you choose.
That's a good pitch.
I mean, I try my best.
We're not picky, is what you're saying, Colin.
We're not picky. Look,
we're not picky.
As you will see from today's super topic, we're not picky. It can stem from outside the world of Nintendo. So.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's not particularly damning to the person's suggestion. It's not very. You're not saying it's not particularly creative or anything like that.
Not at all.
Okay, good. Just checking. Okay, so we have been playing some games on Nintendo systems at the very least. I think we've both got a couple games.
We do.
So why don't you start with one of your games?
Okay, I'll start with the one that I have. Oh, do I start with the one I've already talked about, or do I start with the one that I haven't discussed yet?
Oh, what a tease!
I'm going to start with the one I've already talked about.
Okay.
I've been playing more Fortnite. It's still fun. There, the end.
There, yeah. Is there nothing new to say?
Well, okay, so Fortnite Season 4 is ending. Season 5 is going to begin soon. And the whole thing about the seasons of Fortnite is basically the whole theme of the game changes. The core game itself doesn't, but the theme behind it, because right now it's like this, like visitors from outer space kind of thing going on. So
and how does that theme kind of like show itself in terms of like the actual when you're playing the game?
The map you play on changes throughout the course of the season. Like certain events trigger during so there was a rocket launch this season, and it changed the environment a little bit. Spaceships landed at one point, which caused huge craters in the ground. I think it was spaceships or asteroids or something like that. But yeah, they cause huge craters on the ground. I've not really been part of a transition between one season to the next. So I'm not sure the world just like hard resets between seasons. We'll see. We'll find out. But it's like 12 hours.
It's done by like gradual events again.
Right, exactly. And of course, the game does change over like every few days. Something new in the map will be like, oh, there was a giant hole here, but now it's been filled up, and there's like rare stuff inside it, or whatever. It's like things like that. It's cool. I like the developers do like kind of like keep this. There's not really a story in Fortnite, especially in the battle royale mode, but they keep it. There is a loose story behind it. There's also little bits.
Is it more lore?
Yeah, kind of.
They add lore to it.
It's lore, but kind of pointless lore because it doesn't really.
Okay.
The core of the game is still kill everybody and try and survive. So
I guess the vibe I'm getting is it's at least attempting to give you reasons to kind of check out those nooks and crannies once more.
I mean, honestly, it's just giving you reasons to try and buy the outfits in the shop because they're all themed around the theme of the season. So, and there's some really good ones, but they're like, it's like, oh, I like that, but it's pricey.
And it's all timed.
It is timed. You only have one day to buy.
I know, that's the worst part. I mean, I wouldn't mind so much if you just brought up a big store page and you just saw all the outfits.
That's what I would like. That's what I would like. But each day they put up new costumes, new gestures that you can do. Like some reference movies and other games and things like that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's like one day. It's like, and they do it seem like they tease, 10% off, get it now. It's like, oh,
pressure.
A little bit.
All right.
But yeah, that's all.
All right, let's jump from some Fortnite to another shooter.
Oh,
on the Switch, Wolfenstein. Number
one
2.
you actually have to pay for.
What was that?
That's the one that you actually have to pay for.
It's one of those games you have to. There's like a monetary transaction involved. It's
crazy times.
Yeah.
What
you've got to give money up front, or they even let you play the thing.
I know.
It's a strange concept to me.
It is.
But yeah, I've been playing some Wolfenstein on the Switch, and part of that was because, if you haven't noticed and you are watching the video feed over at youtube.com/Nintendo Voice, there it is. I am doing one of these hotel things because I'm doing another trip for work for a week, and so I thought, to go alongside that, have a new game to play on the Switch. It's always a good excuse, is what I'm looking for. Some excuses better than others, like playing.
It's right up there. It's one of the best excuses I've ever heard.
Exactly. And so I've been playing some Wolfenstein, and I've been almost entirely playing it in portable mode. And where to start in this game? Because I guess a little bit of background. I've not played the first game of this new retelling of Wolfenstein. I've played the original Wolfenstein 3D. I've not actually played the original Wolfenstein game, which was a 2D, top-down, stealth game, very, very basic from what I've seen. But this game on the Switch, man, I'm struggling where to begin. But it's very cool. It's very out there. It's very violent. I feel I'm getting extreme Tarantino vibes out of this game.
Right.
If that means anything to you, listener. The story is, it does things to you. Right from the get go. There are some very vivid imagery being shown off. And the weird thing here is there's not so much nowadays. I mean, I guess there's been a little bit of a revival of the more, in quotes, traditional World War type stuff going.
No, definitely. Yep.
Definitely it's the Second World War, so fighting Nazis. But this game in particular, really gives you reasons, and it sounds like a silly thing, but it really gives you reasons to want to kill Nazis. When before
As if you didn't hate them enough.
it's always like assumed knowledge. It's like, all right, they're the bad guy.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean,
and this is like it presents these characters as well, and they are real pieces of work. Like worse than you can think of, really. And like a lot of the storytelling is done like in engine. It's all obviously first person. You can look around whilst it's happening, and it's all very impressive, especially playing on portable. And probably the most impressive thing I've seen running on it, especially because it goes for that more realistic style, and you've got actual people with well done motion captured acting, and like the facial capture as well. Really good performances all out, and yeah, this game goes really crazy places instantly.
It's a little bit out there, that's what you say.
It's a little bit. Like I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, it's very new release as well.
For the Switch at least. But I mean, it's fun to kind of jump in and just be surprised by all sorts of things, really. But in terms of the gameplay is like rock solid. If you've played like Doom on Switch, it does feel like that.
Well, I was going to ask about the performance on Switch.
Yeah, it's really good, and the thing which surprised me is that it feels a lot like Doom in a sense, like your movement speed. Like, I assume this was going to be a lot slower of a game,
right?
But it's not really.
Is it just as action packed then? I'm guessing, just like
not quite. The time it's not too far off, but like Doom definitely keeps it at like 10 or 11 or whatever it is for like almost non-stop. Whereas in Wolfenstein, it does have its more quieter moments, but it does have those crazy moments, and it gets like it does get as crazy as Doom, but it's not just constantly chucking that stuff at you. But it can do, but it reserves that stuff for when it's best for the moment, because it's also it's telling like a more ambitious story than what Doom is.
Of course. I mean, so story-wise, is it quite an in-depth, involved story?
I would say it's because again, I never played the original. Man, it's really hard to talk about this series. I didn't play the game. This game is a sequel of,
right?
And so there's a little recap at the beginning.
Okay, that's good. That's
very the sequel. But that's all you need, really. But it's beyond that. It's much more like character driven from what I've seen. I've put like a few hours in so far, and so it's not like the story's complex in the sense that like the strategies of either country or what in that sense.
Right.
It is more so like the rivalries between people and the relationships of characters and how those change and I guess there's nothing like I thought this game was going to be a bit more serious than it is. Like,
is it kind of goofy? Is that what you're saying?
It is kind of goofy. Like
that's good.
The character, it is good, but the characters really are like
overly exaggerated.
Yes, they were. I was going to say stereotypes. And that's kind of true and kind of not. But they definitely have these very exaggerated personalities, and you've got this very broad range of characters in this like band of heroes that you have. It's not like, oh, you're a bunch of generic soldiers. You have characters from different countries with different personalities, with like exaggerated like forms put on top of that as well. And it is quite fun to see these characters just interacting with each other. And even like in the more serious moments, or just seeing like certain characters get flustered and angry and such. It's all good. Yeah, no, I thought it was going to have a much more serious tone. And that's the weird thing. Like, it's kind of all over the place in a good way in that sense.
Okay.
Like I've witnessed like the most horrific thing I've seen in a video game in this game. But it's also had some like quite goofy, like fun, genuinely funny stuff in there.
The scariest part of that, if you go back and watch it, Lewis has up the smile on his face like I've never seen. Like I've seen them.
Oh, it's like yes.
Okay, can we get a very loose description?
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's not PG.
It's definitely not PG.
Okay.
It happens pretty early on though.
Oh really?
Within the first half an hour or so. But from what I'm gathering, like this game like immediately continues from where that first game
Right.
finished up, sort of thing.
I kind of hope they will like re-release the first game on Switch so you can kind of play both back to back. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, depending how I feel once I beat this game.
Right.
I've kind of already got an itch to play that first game now.
Oh, really cool.
But it seems like that would be fine to do so. Like, I don't feel like I've ruined it for not playing that first.
Right.
Because again, how it catches you up is in very broad strokes, and knowing now that a lot of the fun is in just the moment-to-moment scenes.
Right.
I feel you would still get all that. Like, you ultimately kind of know roughly what's going to happen, but you kind of probably could have guessed that jumping in the first time round.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so it's really awesome. It's I think what's something worth mentioning, and so Panic Button, who we'll be talking about later in the news as well, their Switch ports, and they did fantastic work doing. They've done fantastic work here. They did really great work with Rocket League as well.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
However, I think this is definitely their most ambitious project. And
considering the source of the game, where it came from, and they got it running on Switch, is a technical achievement in and of itself.
Especially so. And like I watched the Digital Foundry. I'm not alone; it's a very popular channel. And they do the essentially like reviews of like the ports, and they're very impressed with Panic Button's work, despite it being like technically like the most inferior version of that game graphically, in terms of technical achievement of. All right, let's compare the technical specs of a Switch to, say, the Xbox One and what they're both producing. It's like they've done masterful work here to get it looking as good as it does on the system with what power it has behind it. And not only that, in terms of the actual, I guess this is getting a little technical, in terms of the power draw.
Right.
So, like, the Switch in portable mode isn't using much, like, actual power.
Right.
Compared to, say, an Xbox One or a PS4 plugged up to the wall. And so on that side, it's even more impressive. But the point I wanted to get to is, although it is very impressive work, you can see the difference. Like, I think Doom holds up better than Wolfenstein. Right. The main reason being is because Wolfenstein is a lot of realistic people having like realistic conversations and like real-time cinematic cutscenes and all that stuff. When the camera gets up close, you can definitely see where the detail's been cut.
Right.
Before, like when it's Doom and like you turn around and it gets a bit blurry when you're fighting demons, it kind of works.
Yeah, because it's all like action and it's just like you just want to shoot things anyway.
And it's a bit abstract anyway. You're fighting like demons in a space station, and there's like just effects going on, so it just fits in. But you kind of get this kind of blur going over as well, like on the human characters' faces and such. When you get a bit close in, so this is where we're playing on in quotes traditional console. This will be a lot clearer.
Yeah.
However, the moment-to-moment gameplay is what you want.
As long as like the core game plays well, then to me that's the most important thing. Yeah, the graphics will be nice and the cutscenes, but as long as it has the same feel, then I feel like that's an achievement. I think that's
as a bonus, assuming this is a bonus for you, you have the option at least to play in motion controls, like the Doom port.
Oh,
you like our options, Colin? And so
we do, but the motion controls is the option. My soul dies a little every time.
It's a good option. So yeah, I think it's been cool. Like, I've been playing a lot of Wolfenstein as a portable game with motion controls, and it runs really well. It's like, at least for me, like the aiming is really precise and snappy and fast because of the motion aiming and is what I'm used to. And it's just a bit surreal because, again, that like moment-to-moment gameplay stuff, it looks like exactly what you would hope for. It looks like it's that like really high fidelity game just on that tiny screen, and it works really well. And to be fair, it sounds like kind of like I'm down on the game in terms of the detail. I'm very still impressed of the technical achievement that's happened here. I'm just saying it's noticeable. But so yeah, it's really fun watching that stuff on it. It feels like quite a fresh portable experience in that sense. Like I've not played a game like this on a portable before, even though I've played.
My question to you: so Panic Buttons seem to be like these port masters right now. Like they know how to port a game. Is there any game that you would really like them to port?
Ooh, good question. So they do a lot in, and not exclusively PC stuff by any means. Actually, all their games have been also available on consoles.
Yeah.
I might have to come back to you randomly in the show for that one.
Just like, for me, something like if they could get Final Fantasy 15 to run.
That's not a bad shout.
Because a portable version of Final Fantasy 15 would be kind of cool. I know there's a mobile edition, but like proper Final Fantasy 15, that'd be cool if they could do it. But yeah, I'll be up for that.
Yeah, I imagine their futures are going to be very busy.
Oh, definitely.
I'll be quite surprised as well if they don't like ramp up the size of their team so they can take on more work like this.
I mean, again, I don't want
the appetite for developers have got to be out there.
Yeah.
Oh no, but in terms of business, there's got to be people. There's got to be game publishers who would like a low hassle way of getting their game on the Switch.
No, I see what you're saying.
And just looking at
developing this game for free platforms.
If we can pick this amount,
right?
It will take them this amount of time. We'll sell this amount of copies.
Maybe we'll get games that actually come out at the same time as the other versions. That'd be cool. Because that's the kind of thing that, like Wolfenstein 2, the Switch version came out a lot later, which does hurt it a little bit.
True, but I mean, it's kind of playing catch up because it was still less of a difference than the Doom port.
Right.
We shall see what happens with like future Bethesda/id games.
Yeah.
Assuming they do well, of course. I think Doom's done very well. I'm not sure how well Wolfenstein 2 is going to do. We shall see.
It's more or less the same audience, so it should do comparable to Doom, I would have thought.
Sure, it's similar audience. It's definitely a similar audience, but I feel Doom's a little bit more broad. It's a little bit more, I think, playing to the retro factor, even though, like, ironically, Wolfenstein is an older franchise.
Yes, but I think Wolfenstein's gone through more refreshes than what Doom has, so it can't lose that old audience. But yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be playing more. It's great board game. I have plugged it up to TV, and I was actually surprised because for some reason I thought it wasn't going to look that good on the TV. Like, it's just going to look sharp because it's on that smaller screen.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it looked better than I was hoping for. So it does look. It's silly to say. Well, at least it does look sharper and higher resolution, but still is snappy.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing more.
Cool. Look forward to hearing more about it. I'm hoping there's no areas that just like the game can't, like the Switch struggles with.
Oh, I see what you mean. Maybe like later in the game.
Later in the game, like too much going on, so like slow down or something. But I think it'll be fine. I think Panic Button's on the case. I think it's fine. But,
so what was the other game?
The other game, the game I've yet to discuss. I've been playing Fallout Shelter on the Switch.
Fallout Shelter? Is that phone game?
That's a phone game, this is interesting. This is really what I want to bring it up. More so it can lead into a discussion about this.
The trap.
Fallout Shelter works really well on Switch, whether you're playing with buttons or the touchscreen. Okay. Now, I feel like Nintendo should delve into this more and bring more of their mobile games to the Switch. Their Fire Emblem be cool down at the Switch. What's the mobile phone Fire Emblem called?
It's I always get them mixed up. It's Heroes, right?
It's Heroes, yeah. It's Heroes. I was going to say Echo as well. I think no, that's the 3DS.
No, it's not Echoes. It's not Warriors.
Yeah, to me, Fire Emblem games. Well, the new one does look really good. But yeah, the Three Houses, yeah.
Yes.
That one. But yeah, Fallout Shelter, it's a game. I think everybody's played Fallout Shelter by now. It's at some point. But yeah, it's just a game, like a simple resource management game. You build a shelter and you have to keep it safe. And it's set in the Fallout universe.
I've never played Fallout Shelter.
You never played Fallout Shelter?
Is it like timer based? I imagine on the phone.
Yes,
You
more or
come back
less.
in 30 minutes to.
Yeah. You play
Is
it
that
for
how
like
it works on the Switch?
Yep, exactly the same. You'll play it for like 15 minutes tops. You just get everything in place, and then all the timers go off. It's like, okay, I need to come back in
Oh, no,
2
I'm
hours.
guessing it just does that because it dials back to the server.
Yeah, pretty much. It is all online. Um, but yeah, that's it, it's a Fallout game that's on mobile. It is what you expect it to be. It is. I mean, it's good. It's good fun, and it runs real smooth on Switch. Obviously, it's a mobile game. It's going to. There's no.
Does it look good?
It looks.
Is it nice and sharp, sort of thing?
It's
Smooth animations.
It looks as good as when I first played it on mobile. So yes. I mean, it's a very simplistic looking game. Anyway, there's no real like high quality. Like the enemy, everything's 2D. So
yeah,
there's no real graphical fidelity to it as such. It's more just simplistic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it? Someone else who hasn't played it?
As a free game, absolutely.
As a free game? It's worth your time, though.
It's worth trying. It's one of those things you kind of have to try. Because if you've never experienced...
How long would I have to put into it?
Not very long at all. Not very long at all. I mean, the tutorial, quote unquote, is very, like, a couple of minutes long. It's like, here, build your first room. Off you go. Build the rest. So you'll feel very quickly where, like, you'll know, how much you like it. Because it's just all management. It really is what it is. Just resource management. Right. It's cool. It's fun. The best part of the game is, like, sending people out to explore the wasteland, and they come across, like, random encounters from, like, the Fallout series, which is kind of cool. Nice little nod to the series, but yeah, it's fun for what it is.
Fun.
It's not a game I'll put money into though, because you can find everything.
I was going to say, you can, yeah.
You can if you want to.
What's the currency called? That's an important factor.
Oh, where's the currency called? You get free currency. You get free currency, which is like caps. If you want to speed things up, you can pay to buy these Nuka Quantum bottles.
Ooh, Nuka Quantum bottles.
Nuka Quantum. They fast forward everything. You get given like 15 at the start, which is kind of excessive, but then like they soon run out. And you can buy some more at the shop. You find these loot boxes. They're lunch boxes. What they are, but you find randomly. You can open them. You can just open them up and see what you get, or you can pay to have them delivered to you. Yeah, I would say these like kind of microtransaction games. Those eShop like gold coins you get, and like for me, I never know what to spend them on. For me, this is like the perfect kind of thing. Like, I've got so many gold coins. I can just get a free whatever it is in the game, like
quantum bottle thing.
Yeah, free quantum bottle if I wanted to. Well, you get like a pack of 10. But yeah.
I'm not sure. It's like. It was earlier on in the year they increased the rate of how many you get out of them. Because I recently, I'm not sure I talked about this on the last show. I can't remember which game I downloaded. Wasn't a full price game. It was probably like a £20 type thing.
Okay.
And it just, I thought I'll check my gold coins there, and down to 0. I was like,
Oh wow!
I'm not sure if I should be applauding this or being worried.
That's pretty good. I put like £5 worth, and I still don't know what to do with it. I was like, I want to build it up, but I don't want to like miss the expiry on them and like lose them. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
That's sensible. That's good.
Yeah, let's see what I do with those.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically. I just want to kind of lead into the discussion of like, should more mobile games be on the Switch?
I think if they make sense.
I think so. I think
I've been thinking about like Nintendo's ones, like you were mentioning about putting Fire Emblem on there.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I've not played Fallout Shelter, but I don't think like Fire Emblem Heroes would actually be that good of a fit on the Switch. I'm not sure if it's purely because it's like portrait,
right?
But it might be like too quick. It's like a good you jump in and jump out. And I guess the Switch is the fastest, and you can do that essentially.
Yeah.
But it also requires it to have internet which I guess isn't a problem most of the time. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know why I would play it on there over the phone.
Well, yeah,
Sort of thing.
yeah.
Like the phone does that thing well currently. Like it's designed well for that platform. Like I definitely wouldn't want to play like Mario Run on there.
No, no, that's one of the ones. Yeah, that's one I was like, no, because there'd be no.
Oddly, maybe Animal Crossing. That might work. Like you give that stick controls the same game, but it's still free.
Yeah,
I might actually play a little bit.
I mean, you could. I mean, Pokemon Company did do Pokemon Quest on the Switch, which is technically a mobile phone game. I have tested that very briefly. It's okay.
On the Switch, I'm guessing.
On the Switch, yep. It's a very meh kind of.
Yeah, that was kind of my my findings on it as well.
Honestly, the aesthetic can't put me off the most. I don't like the boxy look.
I could take it or leave it, sort of thing. The gameplay didn't do much for me. It wasn't bad, but it just never hooked me in that sense. That's why I also thought it was odd for that. It's their first like phone game developed by. Is it Game Freak itself? There's so many companies by Game Freak. Because never know, it's like, oh, it's by Creatures or it's by Monster. It's like what?
No, yeah. I do want to see something like Pokemon Picross on the Switch.
Yeah. Well, we've got a version of Picross on there currently. More Picross than Mario. We do Picross S.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You should need to download that.
I do. It's free.
Yeah. No, put some of your gold coins towards it.
There you go. See.
There you go. Boom.
Make it free.
Problem solved.
Awesome.
Make Picross 3D for Switch. That's what we say. And also, while you're at it, do phone versions of Picross as well. The knockoff ones aren't the same.
No, never are.
Trust me.
Never are. But yeah,
I've got another game to the table.
Oh.
And now this one was a request of sorts, or a recommendation at least.
Right,
from the last episode. So we did this super topic last week from Jonathan Cruz, and he brought in the subject about games you're recommended but never get round to.
Right.
And as part of that, he mentioned he'd been playing It'll Do 2
for
the Switch, and also suggested. I can't remember if he actually suggested that we pick it up or not, or he was just giving that as an example. Either way,
Lewis took up a challenge.
I took up the request, took up the challenge. The challenge of playing a game.
Yes.
Because it's one I've heard about. Well, I guess I heard good things about.
Okay.
But yeah, never did get around to it. So this gave me the push I needed. Because I completely skipped the first one as well, yet hearing good things. And I believe the first game was actually a 2D sprite-based game.
Okay.
Whereas,
so you're saying this one isn't?
No, it's not. And so a little bit background. So It'll Do is like a Zelda-like.
Right.
So it plays like a Link to the Past style, top-down Zelda game.
Okay.
And so I believe at least the original was sprite-based. The sequel, It'll Do 2, the game I've been playing, is actually 3D. It's polygonal.
Nice.
But it is a top-down Zelda game. So I guess
it's kind of like A Link Between Worlds.
A Link Between Worlds, yeah. However, with a more coherent art style.
Okay. Sure.
And with a main character model, which doesn't look as fugly as the Link from A Link Between Worlds.
You're not a fan?
When he's painted as a picture on a wall, fine. That's good. When he jumps out of the wall, what's happened there?
Yeah, it was a little jarring. I love the. I think she was always actually laugh because that Link's always leaning. He's leaning backwards, I believe, or just forwards.
Yeah, either one or the other.
To match the terrain. Yeah, it's funny. But,
yeah, I'm not sure this game does that, but it plays well. It plays like what I was hoping the 2D version would, which was my only concern of it jumping to 3D in quotes. Right. But no, like it's really smooth. They really obviously have studied a lot of Link to the Past. Like you mash down the attack button, which your starting attack is a stick as you use a sword. Right. But it feels identical to as you would like swipe your sword.
Is it one of those things where you can just hammer the button?
Of course.
Oh,
I reckon you could line them up, and I bet you do the same amount of swipes as well. Like, it feels just right.
This feels almost like the knockoff of Zelda.
Oh, no, it is. But it's also kind of like a parody.
Okay.
Although, I'm not... Actually, I don't think it's fair to... Well, I'm not sure it's quite a parody. I think it's just more of a comedic Zelda-inspired game.
Right.
I don't think it's parody in the sense like it's like subverting the actual fundamentals of it. Maybe it does. It might go there. I've not played a huge amount yet. I've done the first dungeon, which is very small. They do outright say, "Oh, it's like a tutorial dungeon sort of thing."
Okay.
Yeah, which the game kind of gets away with because it is being fun, and like the enemies you encounter there are like these people who have like it's like pillows wrapped around them sort of thing, and they're fighting with like foam sticks.
What is this game?
As I like, so they're these like laughable enemies.
This is the worst description of a game I've ever heard.
Oh, sorry, but I mean, it's a very bright, like cheerful game. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's a good thing that like it does, like it's probably like less than a minute to you're in the action.
Right. Okay.
And so you have like this nice little animation of the main character Itul, and her flying fox thing, which I don't know what the flying fox's name is.
I was wondering where the do comes from. It is a really clever title because
yeah.
It'll do.
Yeah, it's not Zelda, but it will do.
It'll do.
I think is like. I think it was what the name is.
Okay, I'll give it that. It's clever.
Yeah, and like it's got some smart design. It does have like character to it. Like it does. It's got like imagine like it's probably using a lot of the same like color palette as A Link to the Past. Like literally they probably studied it and just used that. But it is a style which is unique to it and consistent, which I like. It's got cool music as well. It feels snappy. It's fun to run around with either the analog stick or the D-pad, whatever you prefer. And yeah, it's a very charming game. I will definitely be playing more of this. I honestly thought this would be a game that I might just play for like just 10 minutes or so and get the feel of it. And be because
now he's hooked.
I kind of am. Again, I'm fairly early days in it, but it's got really solid fundamentals, and I like the kind of the cheeky style to it because it's kind of upfront that it's like this Zelda clone without saying literally that, but it like knows that you know.
If you're not going on a quest to find like the Tri-Square or whatever they're going to call it, I'll be like, what?
I know, but they kind of call out right away. Again, this is like within the first minute or two. Like this island you crash land on, there are these 8 dungeons with these things that you need to get in them, which are the pieces of your raft. To which your flying fox friend says, "Oh, like comments on what can't we just like chop down some trees or something?" And it all does reboot that. Oh, rafts don't grow on trees. But I feel it does work quite well.
That's good.
Yeah,
I need to try it.
I'm kind of surprised. It's got a lot of polish to it, this game.
The first one on Switch.
I don't believe it is. I think I'm pretty sure it was on Wii U.
It was on Wii U. I've seen it on Wii U.
I think the second game was as well. Okay. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, be cool. I need to check it out. I need to take a look. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so you've got like a classic Zelda craving. I think it's doing the job for you. Yeah.
They've yet to announce a new one in the classic style, so
true. I guess you have to be up for a cheeky game.
Oh yeah.
Well,
always.
It might not be you. Because I could see that. Like some indie games get a bit too cute, I feel. With being a bit, a bit like, oh yeah, we're not taking ourselves seriously. We're not a AAA game. We'll tell you some little jokes. We'll make some references to pop culture stuff or whatever.
I mean, Kid Icarus got away with it, so
I guess that's a weird exception.
That is a very weird exception.
Which it's why it was one of my top 3DS game. It wasn't my top one, was it?
No, was it your top one?
It wasn't the. What was my top
It's
one?
one of them.
What was it called?
It was
Kid Icarus, was it?
5, definitely.
Was it? Yeah, it was top 5.
Which
What
I
was my top
disagree
one?
with because
Nah,
we've been there.
whichever place I forgot it was in, it would definitely be there. Yeah, so we do. So, thank you for the recommendation, Jonathan. But that's going to cover all. Is that all our games?
That's all our games. Well, that's mine. Yeah, I mean, I too. So
that's all right. That's 4 games.
Yeah, games.
4 games. So let's do some Nintendo news then.
Oh,
so Panic Button's in the news again.
Hey,
They've been porting more games,
friends
or they're
at
hard at work porting games for the Switch. And they're porting over a little game called Warframe.
yes.
So I'll be honest, I didn't actually know much about Warframe when I heard this
knew
announcement.
nothing about Warframe.
Had you at least heard the name?
I've heard it. I've had a friend recommend I play it, but I never have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's a free-to-play third. Is it third or first person?
I think it's third person.
I believe it's third person. Free-to-play third-person shooter, developed by Digital Extreme, and it's already out on the PC, PS4, Xbox One, I do believe.
Yeah.
And it's now on its way to the Switch. And it's the trailers are out there now, or a trailer is at least, some gameplay footage. And it is a kind of what we're talking about, like with Doom and Wolfenstein. It is one of these graphically intense games which you wouldn't normally expect running on the Switch. And so it's Panic Button doing their usual thing. And this is an interesting one because this is in terms of consecutive players and stream views and such. This is really up there on Steam currently. And has been for a little while. It's also been around for quite some time, and it's been obviously actively being developed. And so it's had its own kind of weird history. It didn't have the greatest reception when it originally launched a few years back.
Right.
But I feel that's been growing.
Yeah.
The information this announcement, and so I guess the question I'm going to ask you to start with is: do we think it's going to see some sort of measurable success on the Switch? Will Digital Extreme be happy with the Switch release? Will people be replaying it? Will people flock to it?
I mean, I'll definitely want to try it. That's on Switch. That's the thing. I'm going to use Fortnite as the benchmark for this. That's various. Well, just kind of as in Fortnite did really well on Switch.
It's done very well on everything.
Yeah, well, I'm saying on the Switch, it's exceeded what I thought it would because it's got it last and all that good stuff. But no, it's had quite good numbers on Switch. So I'm going to say that Warframe's going to get the same. Well, not the same, but I mean a little bit less than what Fortnite got, clearly, because I think the player base for Fortnite is way higher. But I think they'll be happy with the numbers they do get. I feel like Warframe's got a sort of rabid fan base that now they go now my nephew can play with me because he has a Switch and it's free.
Yeah.
Although actually saying that, I do not believe there's any crossplay.
There isn't. There isn't any cross anything in this game.
No, you can't take your account.
No crossplay, no cross accounts, no cross.
Yeah.
And that's not a Switch thing. That's just this game in general.
That's everybody.
It's already on multiple systems, but they all are their own
communities. That kind of annoyed me about Fortnite thing because I originally played on PS4, but I couldn't transfer my account to the Switch because some of you are like, no, you can't do that.
You can't have fun over there.
No, stay with us,
kids. Yeah.
But yeah,
to be trusted. Yeah, I think it would do quite well as well. I think because I reckon Warframe will get more attention on the Switch, ironically, than it comparatively is for the other systems, just because there's less competition.
Right.
One for third person free to play games for one. Isn't much competition. There's at least a big name in that scene.
Right.
But also in terms of I think Panic Button is getting this weird kind of
buzz around them, really.
Yeah, this reputation, like, oh yeah, they do really good work in making these graphically intense games run on the Switch. So I think people go, oh, I want to see what that looks like. Oh, it's free to play. I'll jump in at the very least.
I might, yeah, I'm definitely going to try this, and I'll report back next week about it.
Yeah, and like on that, and then it's also got that portable angle. It's like, oh, it's also this cool looking shooter which I can play portably.
Yeah.
And this is the only way to do so for this particular game, at least.
Right. Exactly. You can be sitting there and say, oh, I was going to do a quick couple of rounds of Warframe. That's the strength of these like short burst games on Switch. The portability for me comes more into play for them because you can just pick it up, play a few games, put it back down. I do it for Fortnite all the time. It's great. But yeah, I think it's a good fit. It's a really good fit for Switch, definitely.
Cool. All right, so looking forward to it. The next piece of news we have a little bit of tidbit here from Tatsumi Kimishima. So there's been a series of shareholder meetings recently, and from the last one, so we've been getting drips and drabs of information out of these. Kimishima stated that they haven't yet announced the full holiday lineup for Switch. And that's kind of it. So there's no real like concrete details around it. And like a lot of the time, like that's a very kind of it's a statement which may not deserve as much fanfare as some people like push it out to be. Because it's like sure, like there's quite often these short turnarounds in these like Nintendo make a lot of games which most people don't actually even care about. Like from very small games to just games which don't use their core IP.
Right.
When like go straight to digital sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're like
I don't
westerns of the world.
I feel like anything that's like the games he's talking about here aren't going to be any like super major releases.
Oh, okay. So you do think it's more on that line because it could be.
I doubt it. I feel like at E3 we would have got an inkling or something.
Do you reckon there's I think there's a chance still, and like maybe it's me being a crazy person. Like we could get a Mario Maker tier announcement still. Like it comes out and goes, all right, this is coming out in a couple months. Or 3 months time.
That's a real long shot. Maybe it's possible, but
I think it's announced in a direct for the first time, and it comes out before Christmas.
I mean,
especially maybe if it's been on this Wii or something.
Yeah, I can see that. I do feel like the reason he's saying this. I mean, I'm sure there are games that haven't been announced yet, but Nintendo's stock dropped a little bit, and a lot of that was like the momentum of the Switch is slowing, which it is because I mean they had a heck of a first year. It's going to be hard to match that.
Yeah, that's
you had Zelda and
Mario
in the first year.
Fortnite comparison.
But yeah, it's I don't know. The only thing I can like they haven't announced. Like, where's this Pikmin game that Miyamoto was talking about?
I don't think that's going to get dropped. I reckon we'll have that will come out at E3 or something oddly, or it will be shown and then it won't come out for ages.
I feel like it's a direct thing.
Oh sure, but then do you reckon it's a direct and then it comes out within a few months afterwards? I reckon they build it up for some weird reason. Or maybe that is the best way to handle it at this point.
Yeah, it has been a little while since Pikmin 3, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's big enough of an IP to deserve a huge push behind it.
Yeah, I think we'll see more things though, to be fair. Like I reckon it's a strange one. I don't know how they're handling Mario Maker. I'm sure it's there. And same with Animal Crossing. Like I feel almost an Animal Crossing could get out in a direct of its own and then come out within a few months in like modern Nintendo era. Like, I don't think that's the game they want to have a real big lead into in terms of it from announcement to release.
Yeah, because Animal Crossing doesn't need it. Animal Crossing doesn't need to be hyped. I mean,
no, but like that's the normal media cycle of games. Like, oh, you have your initial announcement, and then you have some more footage later on, and then you get some more details, and then blah blah.
It's like two direct ones. Then you get the initial direct, which is the announcement, then you get direct later, which is more stuff.
Yeah, I think they could almost like the equivalent. I don't think they would actually shadow drop the thing, but I reckon they could announce it in a direct, and it'd be out like a month afterwards.
Yeah. No, they'll definitely want. They'll be like, it's out now.
Now, I reckon they give it's out like next month or 2 months' time,
Right.
which would be crazy for that sort of thing. But I don't think it's actually that.
It's not out of the realms of possibility. I think it's doable. We'll see. I don't think I've got any huge surprises in the bank.
No. Well, how about this for you, Colin? How about this for a headline? Nintendo wants to release 20 to 30 indie games every week on the Switch.
They're mad.
That's
what you call flooding the eShop.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. So this was again during the last round of the shareholder meetings when being asked about indie games, and so we got a quote here. Indie games have become a hot topic recently as games made by small-scale developers around the world with relatively low development costs. How will Nintendo integrate these kind of games into future business strategy? So that was the actual question being asked. And so this was answered by Susumu Tanaka.
Okay.
Nintendo, we are actively engaging with indie developers at video game focused shows and other events in different regions. Some of the indie games already released have gone on to become million sellers worldwide. In the future, we are looking to release around 20 to 30 indie games on the Nintendo Switch per week. And we definitely expect to see great games among them.
Oh, that is.
Not all of them. I don't expect them all to be great.
I mean, some of them are going to be absolutely shoddy.
It can't be with those numbers.
But most of them, or some of them, maybe even one of them.
We're playing the numbers game. If we're getting 30 a week, we're bound to get some good ones.
The rest of them are like, oh, indie games have recently become a hot topic. Indie games have been a hot topic for a while. I would say, like, Shovel Knight was the biggest one. I think Shovel Knight's the biggest, like, indie game. But yeah, they've been, like, that's... Come on. What's this guy talking about? But
that Minecraft got pretty big at one point.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah.
That's a little indie game, isn't it?
It started out as one. And now it's not.
Is it anymore?
It's not anymore.
Are you saying Microsoft aren't independent?
I think, well, not that I know. But, yeah, 20 to 30 games is a bit excessive.
True, but I mean, like, to be fair, we're already kind of seeing it. It's not like every week, but there's certain weeks there's like 20 new games.
But you know, like, they'll highlight the best ones. I mean, obviously they will. But I love that. Not all of them are going to be good, basically what to say.
Yeah. Let's bring up the point about like the curation on the shop as well, because currently it is just this kind of nothing has priority.
Right.
Nothing is featured in that sense. Well, actually, no. There is a
feature thing.
There is a feature segment now, yeah. But in terms of like actual placement and such, like, unless you're in that segment in particular, it's just like a running order of
like
recent things, or you've got your searches. Right. And I guess you've got the news channel outside of the store, which can point you to the store for recommendations. And but yeah, it does feel like they've got some more work to do. Like if they are actively encouraging getting more and more games out every week, you would kind of think they would have like some other mechanisms in place to kind of put these like the great games, which would be among them, to the top sort of thing.
Oh, they'll just feature them. That's what they'll do. Like, hey, look at this. Ignore the other 22 that we released, but look at this one.
It's quite possible. Yeah, and to be fair, it's a problem all the digital stores have for games, whether you're on iPhone or Android or PlayStation or Xbox.
Yeah.
If you actually do check the weekly releases, there are a lot.
Yeah.
If you're not looking at that features section, so I think it might be more of a perception issue for the Switch, because I'm hearing it a lot.
Maybe that's why they put in the feature section, because like, hey, we're going to release a lot of games.
But I feel they need to I feel featured isn't the default view, is it, or is it now?
I don't know. I've not been on the eShop for a while.
Yeah, I actually go there quite often, so I'm not sure how. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel either way they need to make that more prominent.
Right.
And sure, yeah, you can look at every single release, but you always have to dig in to get to the option.
That's a lot of stuff to trawl through.
But that is a double-edged sword on that side. Then you could get these like these diamonds in the rough sort of thing, which just slip through the cracks. I'm using all the analogies.
Diamonds falling through cracks. There you go.
Yeah. I mean that is the other issue of these stores which get all these releases. Like you look at the like the
anything
Apple iOS
Steam,
store, and like
iOS,
you're not getting like 20 games a week. You're getting like 100 games a day.
Yeah. And then, like, no one is going to test them all or whatever, view them all. It's insane. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, that's all the news we got. That's all the news we managed to fetch.
Yay!
That's all right. We got a super topic on.
Yay! Best part of the show.
Turn that sarcastic excitement into real excitement.
Easy.
All right. Let's see this. So we've got a super topic from Lewis Lloyd Judson, also known as Illustrations, who does our cool art for the podcast, England Girl. And we got some new art on the way as well. Yeah. Some of it's in our pocket. Some of it's coming along.
Gonna try and fish for it.
Mr. Illustrations may be involved.
Ooh.
Maybe.
That's not a subtle hint. It's like the one he might be involved.
He might be involved. We don't make
like saying Link might be in Smash. It's like
that's true. It's foregone. To be fair, we've kind of teased it on the Twitch channel, some at least. You'll be seeing some of that soon.
Oh yeah.
It's very cool. However, the question Lewis asks us today is, considering that a couple of the hosts are Brits, which is why we picked this one for this week.
All of us right now.
Yes. It might be interesting to talk about how the Sega Master System and Mega Drive were the dominant home consoles. You don't really get to hear that perspective in podcasts. It'd be like a bizarre alternative universe for US listeners. Back in school, I can only remember one person that owned a NES.
Oh, the NES.
I feel on the podcast where it's just us, we're allowed to revert back to saying NES and SNES.
NES. Yeah. When I first heard SNES, I was like, what is that?
Same with NES.
It's always NES and SNES.
NES and SNES is what we grew up with.
Yeah.
We'll do on that. What was it? What we grew up with? Sega over here, as I'm going to call him Illustrations to save confusion. Points out wasn't dominant.
They had the market share. They had the more market share, definitely.
Sega did.
Yep, Sega did.
Yes.
Yep. Which is yeah. So I guess we should just go through our histories with Sega. The Mega Drive was the first console. Well, it was the first console I have memory of playing. We had a Sega Mega Drive for years. That's the console I pretty much grew up with. We did get a Sega Master System afterwards, which I did assume was this is the next one, because it's called the Master System. It sounds cooler.
It does sound cool.
It was.
The wrong way around.
I think the Master System sounds much cooler than Mega Drive, but yeah, because you look at the Mega Drive. I mean, you look at the Master System. It's like this thing can it has cartridges and it can play cards. So it's like, it's like this advanced technology which Mega Drive only had cartridges. It still makes me laugh every day when I see the original version of the original Mega Drive, because it has high definition on the front
Is
of
that
it.
high definition graphics or audio?
Graphics, no, high definition 16-bit graphics.
Ooh, very nice.
I think that stretching a bit with the high definition because some games look a bit messy, but
it's all relative, isn't it? Really,
all relative. It is now.
It's claiming to be high.
True. True. But I loved Mega Drive. I absolutely loved Mega Drive. Some of my favorite games would be like Streets of Rage 2. 3 was also pretty good. I love the arcade stuff. I love the like Alien Blaster and Phantasy Star. I love the Phantasy Star series. They need to bring that back as like a proper RPG series rather than being online.
They've not done a not online Phantasy Star in a while, I feel.
They've done, I think, Universe. That was like PSP.
Oh, okay.
I
and I didn't have any online branding at all.
No, not as I'm aware of, but they had online functionality. So, there's no strictly offline.
I kind of wanted to chat with you on, before I go into like my history with Sega in comparison to Nintendo. is that amongst your like group of friends growing up,
Hmm.
what was the more dominant Nintendo
What
or
was the
Sega?
more? Honestly, my friends didn't have too many consoles. Not until the next generation of PlayStation and going onwards. It was I knew two people with a Mega Drive,
Okay.
and I knew one person with an NES, NES.
Hmm.
Yeah, Super Nintendo. I didn't actually experience Super Nintendo until we got one, but that was years later. I mean, that's like early 2000s. Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, like this is a weird one because like, I know this way, but I'm like growing up myself, I think that I was in contact with more Nintendo stuff than I was Sega stuff. Um, and like I didn't. I've the only Sega console I've actually owned, oddly, is a Dreamcast after the fact.
Okay, no, that's cool. That's really good.
So I've never kind of stumbled upon it. I've played. Um, I think it was. I've played both the Mega Drive and Master System, like a Mega Drive round A friends and a Master System round like family at the time.
Right, right.
Um, but yeah, like it was more like I'm kind of thinking like sort of the discussions around the playground sort of stuff, and there would be that like Nintendo versus Sega stuff going on.
Always. The bit was, yep.
And I think that was fairly balanced, to be fair. Like, so it was much more like it was a heated debate. It wasn't like one of them was more obviously, from my perspective
Well,
at least,
I
like
think
dominant. Like it seemed like a fairly fair fight, both of those two at the
I
time.
think the main reason for that was there was quite a few SNES games that didn't come over from America, or we didn't have much. Like Chrono Trigger is a big one, obviously. That's the one everyone knows. Like that, we didn't get it.
True, but was that really like winning the hearts and minds of the time in like in terms of mass numbers?
That I don't know.
I feel like that stuff gets like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a great game. But I don't think it was really pushing Super Nintendo.
It was underappreciated at the time. Maybe.
I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like I was saying it was like a niche game opposed to like a system seller.
Yeah. No, we got the biggest games. We were,
Yeah.
Obviously, the Mario, the Super Mario World. We got Metroid, Super Metroid, which is still the very first game that I say it's the first game I finished. I did finish games on Mega Drive, but they weren't games that you could save. This is the first game that you could actually save and have like come back to it, because the Mega Drive was great for arcade stuff. I remember playing it's like games like Streets of Rage you could finish in one sitting. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 you could finish in one sitting. There was no save system, so. But yeah.
What was your experience and also exposure of portables for both then?
Oh, I loved the Game Gear.
Did you have a Game Gear?
My older brother had a Game Gear, and I messed around with it. I played Echo the Dolphin on Game Gear.
I'm not sure I even knew that existed.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's pixelated as all heck. Yeah, it barely works. Echo the Dolphin actually was a great Mega Drive game. I never made much progress on it, but it was fun. Well, it was. I remember the first time I played that game, I was like, "This looks incredible," because it did. It looked amazing for what it was.
I think I've played like 10 minutes of that and not really got the point like back in the day.
You're a dolphin.
Exactly, yeah, like I didn't realize there was really much more to it. Like I didn't think there was. I thought it was like a weird dolphin sim, opposed to like an actual. There's an adventure that back there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very loose story.
Oh, true, but there's a world to go through, sort of.
There
thing.
is, yeah.
Um,
To me, it was just fun to like swim around and explore stuff, and then like jump out of the water. It was good.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, just jump, do some flips.
Just animation-wise, the game is remarkable. Of course, if we're talking about Mega Drive, we have to mention the Sega Scream that appeared at the beginning of most games. That was amazing. That's still iconic in my mind.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Sega, every single time.
And it was consistent at least as well.
It was. So you say that, but some games didn't actually have it. I think Streets of Rage 3 didn't have it for some reason.
Okay. Well, I feel like on the console side, like just Nintendo just didn't have an equivalent, really.
Right.
I don't feel oddly you go to like the Game Boy and you have like the Nintendo logo come down.
Yeah.
And the Game Boy Advance would have, something similar. I think all the portables did. I guess the 3DS technically did, or did it drop its? It's like the red
screen, yeah, it's like the start screen.
Like ripples kind of come through. But yeah, so on the portable side, so I'm guessing like you knew more friends with Game Boys than you did with Game Gears. Just want to check that.
I definitely saw more Game Boys than Game Gears. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the confirmed side of things. That was definitely like if we were talking about portable stuff, it would be Nintendo.
I mean, considering that when I grew up, I was 8 when Pokemon hit, and that was obviously huge.
That was pretty prime.
Every day at school, bring your Game Boys, and we're going to trade Pokemon all day.
Oh, of course, and don't forget your trading cards.
Yeah, I used to love the trading cards. Let's not get into it. Anyway, but be here all day about trading cards. I used to love them.
Someone send us a super topic about trading cards. So we can show off that collection.
Please.
Battle strategies.
And I can tell you the tragic story of how I lost the ball.
How you lost her?
What?
I didn't catch the last bit. What did you lose?
Trading cards.
You lost some trading cards? No.
I didn't lose them. They were taken from me, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, no.
But yeah, back to Sega. So are there any games for you like that stick out in memory? Whether it's console, portable, or...
On the Sega side of things?
On the Sega side of things.
It's a tricky one for me. Because I oddly... And this kind of goes like against the question like here. I know like the Nintendo market share has always been quite low over here. But yeah, I had this weird perspective where at least... And I'm not sure if it...
Lewis was in this weird bubble. Like, it was like Nintendo everywhere.
I'm not sure if the bubble was like the reason why I care a lot about Nintendo now, or like I created the bubble. It's like one or the other. Like I was affectious amongst other people, and they also then got Nintendo things. But yeah, so on the Sega side of thing, like I think 2 games come to mind oddly, and I think you appreciate both of these.
Okay.
The first one is Sonic Spinball, and that is, and I think I probably played more Spinball than regular Sonic.
Oh, that hurts my soul. Why?
All these like experiences come from somebody who never actually owned or like rented the system and stuff. So I was playing it when I could, and like just what was in there, sort of thing, probably.
I was hoping you said like Dr. Robotnik's Bean Machine.
No. Well, no. I've played. The most I've played of that is within Sonic Mania.
I was going to say yes, it's Sonic Mania. Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
So good. It's so good.
It worked well, and I never played the original. Obviously, everybody knows about it now. Yeah. But I think I like the idea of Spinball. So I can't remember like I put the cartridge in or it was in there already, but like just like a pinball platformer essentially. That's a nice gimmick.
That's
the thing. I feel like it was a good game to play around a friend's house.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good game.
Because it was free. I didn't actually put that much time into it. So I feel it was like kind of an arcadey experience.
I mean, if you ended up paying for it, I'd be like, I feel so sorry for you.
No, exactly, no, but it didn't. So it's just like I probably played it for half an hour and like left pretty happy with my experience. Yeah. Whereas if I owned that system and bought the game and then tried to get as much out of it as I could, maybe...
I was given Sonic Spinball as a gift on the condition that I try and finish it. I didn't.
Is it a big game? I have no idea.
There's quite a few levels. I think it's like 6 stages altogether. But the later ones are so tedious to get through because you've got to hit the ball, Sonic, in just the right spot, and it's like, come on. If you miss it, there's instant death traps everywhere. It's just a frustrating experience. She didn't have too much experience with the actual Sonic games themselves. That's
not too much.
That's amazing to me. Like, not even Sonic 2.
Yeah, but no.
Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is amazing.
Yeah, I did play Sonic 2, just not much. Like I played like multiplayer on that was fun, which is how I played it.
You say multiplayer, it's like 1.5 players because the second player can't die.
But you also get to do those cool 3D bonus stages together.
They're the worst for 2 people. They're the worst for 2 people.
It's a nice novelty, at least.
Actually, I'll say 2 people is actually not too bad.
That seemed that it did like 3D things, and it was 2-player, and it had that like even though it was a bit weird and janky, you had that split screen multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there wasn't much of that going on the Super Nintendo.
Right. Yeah.
Like actually showing like 2 different displays of that same game.
Yeah.
Even if it was just squashed.
Squashed.
Both being scaled correctly, just squish it.
Yeah. It didn't look too good. But yeah, no, it's Sonic series is.
That's kind of my Sonic experiences. Do you want to hear about my second game though? The one I'm bringing to the table. You know, obviously aren't the only 2. The other one which kind of left an impression. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. I believe that's the full title.
Oh.
Did you play this?
Yeah, I got nightmares about that game. Terrible.
Terrible. Why do you have nightmares?
It's horrific. The whole game revolves around saving children. And
that's a noble goal.
I would say that the best part of that game is the transposing of the music, i.e., the songs in the game actually sound like the songs Michael Jackson sang.
And it was well animated as well. Graphically, it was quite a nice game.
Yeah.
No, or is it just have I got false memories? I remember like it being quite like smoothly animated, quite large sprites.
Yes, definitely. Oh, definitely. I mean, the game did look good. No, I'll give you that. It looked good. It sounded good. It just didn't play
Again,
well.
it kind of felt like an arcade game.
Yeah, there was an arcade.
There was an arcade version of it, which looked a lot better and was quite different.
Way better.
Exactly, but even then, it was like, all right, this is. And like it was at the exact right time as well. Like I was like probably really into. I can't remember if it was exactly that time, but it was the sort of time I would have been into Michael Jackson.
Right. No, right.
And so, yeah, like I remember playing that and like, oh, this is really cool. Like, oh, I wish I had this game on my Super Nintendo, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely. I don't think it's one of the like. Oh, Super Nintendo has this game.
I'm not saying it's like one of the greats. I just think it's like these sort of memories that kind of stick with you for whatever reason of
right. No,
systems that you don't
own. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. It's definitely a unique game. What it was, but. Yeah, it's the best part of the game is probably actually the dancing dogs. If you do the dance, dogs they start dancing with you. It's great.
Yeah, you got voice samples in there, don't you?
You got Michael Jackson going.
Is there any crackling audio going on in there?
A little bit. I think there was. I can't remember too much about the game to be honest.
Did you attempt to talk at any point?
No.
No, yeah, it's different. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna stick it for Pokemon Yellow somehow.
See, for me, like if you want like games, like specific memories for games, one of the biggest memories I have is NHL. I want to say '94. This is gonna sound like a weird thing. So a sports game, ice hockey game. You would think in the UK that would really matter, but
we are big sports fans here.
Me and my older brother, we used to love it just because if 2 players clashed in such a way, it turned into like a little fighting game.
Ooh, what does it go into like a transition?
No, it stays on the same screen, but you just control the players going backwards and forwards. And
I was thinking it was like Fire Emblem, where you get your 2 units to go up, and then it zooms in. Like it turns into like this combat encounter.
This was '94. There wasn't going to be anything too fancy, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, cool. a lot of 2-player stuff on Mega Drive. Alien Storm was really good 2-player.
Quite well trodden ground, but probably might have been like the Sega game I most played. Not my favourite, but Golden Axe.
Yeah,
that seemed to be quite prominent.
That's a game that everyone says like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah, go play it.
I'm not saying it's great. I'm always saying the opposite. But like, I think almost every Sega system I encountered had a copy of Golden Axe.
Right. No, it's they pushed that game real hard. Golden Axe 2 is one of the best sequels though, mainly because the first one was so.
Never played only the original.
Really? You got to play 2. 2 is so much better. The first one because the first one's so basic. Really is. I think there's only like 4 enemy types in the first game, but you just don't notice it because you're just going through it. But Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess like I think a good way to transition this is so obviously in terms of um like hardware um
Ooh.
hardware players like has finally won over here. You know, they are doing better than Sega is.
Yeah,
And so
undoubtedly.
so the tipping point I'm guessing was their last system.
Yeah.
Or was it? So in terms of like Sega's popularity over here, where did it or when did it start waning?
Well, I would say the biggest like death blow to Sega was the PlayStation. I would say
Okay,
the
like I'm
PlayStation.
specifically asking for because I've heard a lot of like um uh just stories and such of just Sega in general as a worldwide
Right.
organization. But in terms of over here in the UK,
In the UK, yeah.
do you reckon it was when PlayStation came
When
in?
PlayStation came out, they that console was so well advertised. It had such a huge publicity behind it. The getting of the games and all that. Yeah, and Sega didn't say.
And the PlayStation did have a strong presence over here,
Oh,
like
and
very quickly
real
on.
like the brand was really strong, really strong. Yeah, and of course Nintendo didn't really have a. Yeah, Nintendo was was a known quantity over here,
Yeah.
but it's nowhere near as like. Sorry, that's the Sony police right now.
If you're listening in your car, that was us, not you.
But yeah, that just took away my train of thought. But yeah, I said Nintendo's not really a known quantity. Well, it's no quantity, but it's not as big over here. And I think Sony's jumped right in and said, "Look, we're the biggest players now."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess like Sony was kind of after the same market Sega was.
Oh, easily. Yeah, definitely more adult orientated. Definitely more edgy. I would say marketing.
Yeah, kind of an edgy, cool marketing type thing, but with a bigger budget.
Maybe way bigger.
Which is how you win at being cool. So
it is, but it's also kind of surprising that's a huge risk on Sony's part. Because I mean, that they didn't know, they could have known that PlayStation was going to take off the way it did. But
no, I guess not, but they were kind of banking on it. Obviously, they had a weird history with Nintendo trying to launch a console, and they had partnered up with Sega before releasing the PlayStation. They were involved with the Sega CD,
yeah.
at least publishing games for it.
Well, add-ons of all time.
True, but they kind of got their feet wet, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so, Sony kind of they like the idea, like they could see the money in this business and how it had the potential to grow.
Yeah.
So they're very obviously very intelligent because they could see a market much bigger than it was at the time,
right?
Which is where we are today, basically.
But we are, yeah.
And yeah, they thought, I guess, to playing to their strengths, they take on Sega, ironically, opposed to taking on Nintendo.
Yeah, and Sega made. I mean, the Saturn was a huge mistake. I think the Saturn was a huge.
I played a Saturn over here. I did.
I've never played a Saturn. I played Nights
in Dreams, I think. I'm not sure I played anything else.
I've heard the Saturn controller is actually quite good.
I can't even remember it.
It's not memorable. It's quite good, but not memorable.
But I feel like it didn't have an analog stick, did it? But I think
no, it was
I think there was one for Nights, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think well, because the Saturn was originally a 2D machine, so like, hey, we asked to do 3D, and 3D game was becoming big, and so Sega panicked. So, oh my god, we got to make a 3D. So they turned this, they botched this 2D machine, round it with more processors and whatever, and made it 3D, and no one could actually make a game for it.
And when you chuck in like that, came a year after the 32X.
Yeah.
Or actually, it might have even been. It was pretty close. Like, I think it might have even been less than a year over here.
It was like
both of those.
Yeah.
32X and the Saturn. Yeah.
Sega.
So there you
go.
If Sega was to come back, do you reckon they could have a chance? Something outside of like a micro console or a weird Atari mini box thing?
People keep asking for a Dreamcast too. I don't understand the reasons behind it.
Like, I think I understand the reasons.
Really?
Shall I give you at least what I would think of the reasons? Like, I feel like, well, basically, that's the short version. But the longer version is like obviously a lot of people have very fond memories of Sega, and they think
Yeah.
about the Master System, the Mega Drive, and such. And then like they think about things like the Saturn and the 32X and that side, and that's a bit the low points. But then there was the Dreamcast. And oh, Sega's finally kind of they brought a system together which has good games.
Right.
Of a decent design. It's got a nice controller to it. It's got some nice features. It's got good graphics. It's got a modem. It's got some cool accessories. You can plug it up via VGA, which is nice. So it was like finally like this sensible thing for controller ports, and then they just kind of leave the business because of their past decisions, and not necessarily because of the success or not of the Dreamcast.
No, it's true. Yeah,
I think there was this just revival of just the good games as well, which came out.
Right.
Yeah. And like there's a lot of just like cult classics, like things like Skies Arcadia.
Oh, so good.
And like even though they've aged terribly, you had like the 2 Sonic Adventure games.
Yeah.
Which for the time were probably the
best. I would say the first one has aged better than the second.
Oh really? I would have the way around.
No.
First is better than the second.
Yeah, easily.
The first one's got all the walking around stuff in it.
Yeah. The second one has you looking for Chaos Master,
right?
Chaos shards all the time. It's like
you do have that. Don't you have that in the first one?
No.
No.
I remember. I think Knuckles had it.
It's not Sonic levels, is it?
No, it's not. But I think the level's just better designed overall.
Oh, you got Big Cat in the first game. That was why I like it. The variety.
Yeah, that's the down point with the first one. Let's go fishing with Big the Cat. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's like I don't think we'd see it, but I would like to see what that would be if somehow Sega just had the budget to go. All right, here are our plans for a modern generation console.
Yeah.
To go toe to toe in any fashion you choose.
I feel like enough time has passed that the failure that the Saturn was, the memory that's kind of gone away. I feel like they are more or less a new company at this point, a different company. So yeah, I feel like they can say, hey, look, don't call it Dreamcast 2.
No.
It's like else. It's like, hey, Dreamcast 2. It's like, because the first Dreamcast was good, but it just died a death.
That's it was a lot better at least than the last few attempts beforehand.
That's true. No one will disagree with that. Not at all.
Yeah, so some different perspectives from
Sega wasn't always bad.
Yeah. It wasn't always bad. Are they bad now?
No, I feel like Sega actually has earned quite a lot of goodwill with what they're doing. With the recent Sonic release and things like that. But
are we talking about Forces or
Well, I was thinking more Mania. But Forces, from what I hear, isn't terrible.
To be fair, it's a weird one. Like it's like I'm not sure you even call it a guilty pleasure because I've been quite upfront with how I quite like it.
You call it Sonic Boom, so I mean.
Sonic Boom has merit.
No, it doesn't. No.
Oh, what do you mean? You've never played it.
Exactly.
It's the thing about. Well, we don't want to turn this. Well, to be fair, it's
Sega.
Super topic. This is the time to go into a little Sonic side talk, isn't it? So the thing about Boom is it's not really a traditional Sonic game, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
But because it's quite upfront, like they're different almost designs for the Sonic characters and such, and so it's more of an adventure-y type game. And so there is more like exploring and platforming in a 3D environment. There is
though, that's the thing.
It is a bit like there's been a trend with 3D Sonic games of quality control and it not being good. And it follows that trend.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Oh, to be fair, they've not all been that way. Like Colors is very polished. Generations also.
Yeah.
And like this is where you get into like Forces, because Forces is like a weird middle ground,
right?
Where it definitely doesn't have that as much of that jank. There's some of it there, but none of the real silly stuff is there.
Right.
But it's almost a bit too streamlined. So like you got the cool, like the boost levels, which is mostly what the game is. And so, which is a good thing as such. It's like a Sonic Adventure game with just the Sonic stages.
Right. That's a good thing.
Exactly. So like the pros and the cons of that. Like the pros is that's kind of what we've asked for. The cons of that is like it's what they warned us it would be, which is a very short game.
Yeah.
Because you've got like a couple dozen of like 2-minute stages, basically.
I see.
So there you go. This is what we want. And then like I don't think they go far enough for the story. Like I feel they should have gone weirder with it.
It was kind of weird already. I mean, all the trailers I've seen, it looked like it was going to odd places.
Exactly. So they should have committed. I feel they just like they dabble in some stuff, but they don't really.
They have tried that before though, with like committing to a weird story. Shadow the Hedgehog is the weirdest game of all time.
I never completed Shadow.
Yeah, but keep it that way.
But I imagine it's at least it's got a theme it sticks to.
Not that I know. But yeah, the last Sonic game I actually played was Lost World. Like Lost World.
Oh, your thoughts on Lost World?
Yeah, it was good. I quite enjoyed it. I actually thought it wasn't as bad as as the last few Sonic games that I played.
That's another one which it does feel
that
quite
kind of flew under the radar. I feel because people were just like, oh, it looks just like Mario Galaxy but Sonic,
which is a weird take to then ignore.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's what got me. Well, not that I needed that much of a push, but that was like when you said, "Oh, they're taking inspiration from Galaxy for it." I was like, "Oh,
yeah, good.
Yeah.
Give us more of that."
Exactly.
Yeah, because before that I played Sonic Unleashed, which is again a very bizarre, like the normal Sonic stages.
Conflicting things about Unleashed. I'm hearing more like things. Oh, it was actually quite a good game.
The Sonic side of things is really good. When you're the werehog, it feels like a different game.
Exactly. Is it like I kind of expect that it's bad? I kind of expect that in modern Sonic games. There's some stuff you just kind of have to grit your teeth.
But I would say it's not good.
So if you just kind of like push your way through the
werehog, just close your eyes and think of England. Just get through
exactly.
It. Yeah.
And then you got your boost levels, as it were.
Actually, that's all it is. Yeah.
All of a nice boost.
That's the two extremes.
There's something there.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's finish this up. What's your perfect Sonic game?
Perfect Sonic game. Blimey. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Actually, let's do it that way. I was going to say describe what it would be, but no, just what is your favorite? And is that Sonic 2?
Sonic 2, easy.
Sonic 3. Keep one.
Yeah,
the rest
Sonic 2.
Go away.
Yep. No, absolutely. Sonic 3 was a huge disappointment for me.
Ooh,
yeah.
Controversial.
Yeah, not really.
Sonic
3's a bad game. It is.
Well, for me, see, I didn't grow up with the original Sonics, which is weird because I really do like Mania.
Right.
It feels almost a cheap, but I'm almost inclined to go with Mania.
Yeah, you can do. That's the real one, isn't it? It's a Sonic game. Sonic in a title. I think go first.
To be the way I'm wording it, yeah, I'd go with Mania. If I get to keep one, like to go back to sort of thing. I think Mania's gonna have the most replay for me.
Right.
Yeah, which is cool because it's a throwback. It kind of goes with what we were discussing.
I still need to pick up Mania. I still haven't played it.
Oh, have you not played it all?
No, I don't.
It's a very cool game. Like, to be fair, like I could understand how I've burnt my bridges in terms of Sonic recommendations.
Yeah, a little bit. When you said Sonic Boom wasn't as bad as everyone says it is, I was like, oh, don't defend Sonic Boom.
Don't defend it. Don't drag me down with you.
No, that's right. I was like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I think that's a suitable comment as any to end the show on. So, thank you, Illustrations, for your super topic. If you would like to send us a super topic, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. As Colin alluded to, we are doing more with those in the future. Basically, they are expanding. So, chuck in your super topics. Please do support us, and bigger and better things are coming out of them. more attention at the very least, more dedication, focus. So what we'll do now is we'll go around like we do once at the end of a show. Just the two of us this week, though. We'll let you know how you can get hold of us if you so choose. Have you got a reason to?
Yeah.
And anything else we've been up to, which we would like you to know of. Colin,
Yes.
how can the fine folks of the internet get hold of you?
Primarily through Twitter. My Twitter handle is @HylianBird, which is how you think it's spelled. Outside stuff, yeah, I do a lot of streams. I stream more or less each day, 6 p.m. UK time. I've been streaming a lot on Twitch lately, as opposed to Mixer. It's just I'm just exploring. I'm feeling out a new platform. Just trying out new things.
If I'm interested in watching you stream, where do I go?
You go,
do I go to Twitch?
Twitch TV.
Or do I go to Mixer?
Well, Twitch. I'm on Twitch primarily these days, but yeah, Twitch TV / I've had to use the Hylian Bard, which I hate because somebody's taken my name. It drives me nuts. Yeah. So, the Hylian Bard. I'm the only one. Capital T, H-E, capital H. Yeah, I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to do the whole URL, but you can get there. You can go from there. Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. Daily streams. For myself, you can contact me on Twitter @Luvision, LUVSION. And I don't have anything further to plug. So check out our Nintendo Voice stuff. We do have some cool announcements coming soon. I know we've been saying that for a little while, but they are still coming. So I'm going to keep saying that until they do.
Slowly, but they are coming.
It's because I'm excited about them.
Yeah.
Things are just taking a little while to brew.
Yeah.
But you don't want any undercooked chicken, do you, Colin? That's just dangerous.
That's deadly, I would say.
It is deadly. And that's not the business we're in. We're in the business of talking about Nintendo once a week. Are we doing a good job at that, Colin?
I think we're doing okay.
We're doing okay. Well, that's okay for me. Okay, so this has been episode 146 of Nintendo.
Yep. See you later, everybody.